Today, we're going to break down the blueprint for how one of South Asia's most dynamic economies is literally architecting its own future. This is the story of Bangladesh and its incredibly ambitious plan to reshape its role on the world stage. 2041. Get that year in your head. That is the deadline Bangladesh has set for itself. The goal? To transform from a developing nation into a prosperous, high-income country. Now that is a bold vision, and it's going to require an equally bold plan.
Okay, so what's the game plan? How do you even begin to tackle something that big? Well, the master plan is this comprehensive strategy, and it all starts by facing one major, and I mean major, economic challenge head on.
To really get where they're going, you first got to understand where they are right now. And for Bangladesh's export economy, a single number pretty much tells the entire story. And wow, this chart just lays it all out, doesn't it? It perfectly visualizes the country's core economic vulnerability. Over 80%, 80, of all their export earnings come from just one industry, ready-made garments. Now that industry has been the engine of their growth for decades, but it's also become a potential single point of failure. So you can imagine, right? Relying so heavily on one thing, it's risky. I mean, really risky. A sudden economic downturn in Europe, a change in fashion trends, new tariffs, any one of those things could seriously destabilize the entire economy. Okay, so the good news is Bangladesh isn't just sitting on its hands here. They know this is a problem, and they've got a pretty comprehensive plan to tackle it. The idea isn't to ditch the garment industry, but to build a much wider and more resilient economic foundation around it. At the heart of it all is what they're calling an export-led growth strategy. Now, it sounds a bit technical, but the idea is actually super simple. Sell more things, sell better things, and sell it to more places around the world. That's it. Diversification, value, and new markets. And this whole thing is built on three key pillars. You've got the government, through agencies like the Export Promotion Bureau, setting the rules and framework. Then you have the private sector making the connections, and all of it is aimed at that third pillar, strategic diversification. And this right here, this is where the rubber meets the road. You can have all the government plans in the world, but you need someone to connect the dots. That's where these private facilitators come in. They act as the essential bridge, helping local companies who are great at making stuff become great at selling it everywhere. But look, a plan this huge, it's not just on paper. You literally have to build the foundation for it. We're talking concrete and steel. You can't be a global trade hub without world-class infrastructure. And they are absolutely making those investments. We're talking massive projects, huge public-private partnerships, all designed to completely overhaul their ability to move goods efficiently. Okay, get a load of this number. 2.8 million TEUs. Now, a TEU is just a standard 20-foot shipping container, the kind you see on ships. So 2.8 million of those, that's the projected annual capacity of just one project, the brand new Matabari Deep Seaport. That's just a colossal amount of goods. So what does that actually mean for the country? Well, that one port alone is expected to boost the entire national GDP by 2 to 3%. That is a game changer. It means less dependence on foreign ports, and it slashes the time and cost of logistics. But it's not just about that one massive port either. You've got to see it as a whole system, a network. You've got deep sea ports for global trade, you've got export processing zones that are basically duty-free manufacturing hubs, and you have land ports like Benapole to make trade with neighbors like India seamless. It's all connected. Now, let's be real. A project this massive, it's not going to be a walk in the park. There are definitely hurdles, things like bureaucracy and making sure all this new infrastructure gets built on time. But every single challenge is also a chance to innovate and find new opportunities. And you can see that pivot happening right here. The focus is shifting from just the traditional garment industry to new, high-value sectors. Things like pharmaceuticals, high-end leather goods, ceramics, and even agro-processing. These are all industries with just huge growth potential. And remember, it's not just about what they're selling, it's also about who they're selling to. They're looking way beyond the usual suspects in Europe and North America. Take this trade with Brazil, for example. It's just exploded, reaching $2 to $3 billion. It's a perfect example of successful market diversification. All right, so let's zoom out. What's the big takeaway here? Why should you care about all this? It matters because this isn't just wishful thinking. It's a really comprehensive vision. You've got national policy working hand in hand with private sector energy. You've got them building world-class infrastructure. And it's all part of a clear strategy to diversify and welcome foreign investment. They're actively building their own future.
And for anyone out there who is an entrepreneur or an investor, this all translates into one word: opportunity. I mean, what you're seeing is a massive, growing market with strong government backing, pushing into new sectors that are just ripe for investment. They're basically putting up a giant open for business sign.
So it all comes down to this, doesn't it? They've got the plan, they're pouring the concrete, the ambition is clearly there. Is Bangladesh really poised to become the world's next great trading hub by 2041? It's a compelling question, and honestly, it's going to be fascinating to watch.